Okay, so this, as far as military involvement, this goes back into the 70s when you had the Federal Savings and Loan Act. They were doing a lot of loans. You had the credit unions, all of that sort of stuff. They were kind of the popular place to borrow money from. And that's where you had the farmers back in the 70s, and they were told by the banks either get in or get out. You either went whole hog and you started farming 2,000 and 3,000 acres, or you quit. They didn't want to see any of these 200-acre farmers out here anymore. They didn't want to see the family farmers. So they loaned everybody money, and then you had all of the big collapse in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. And they were basically grabbing up all the land. So what happened was that this couple had borrowed money, and out in Colorado, where they were at, they had borrowed money, and then they died. But they had been making their payments and everything, but the clause in the contract said that if you die, you automatically gave up everything to the bank. And so the man, what was his name? Swasinger?
Swasinger.
Yeah.
Roy Swasinger.
I think he's a retired general.
Yeah, general or colonel or something. But anyway, he was, Roy Swasinger was his name. He came home to the family farm and he started figuring out what was in this contract and why was the bank so, why did they come and take the family farm and everything when he was there for his inheritance, basically. And so he started investigating, and he was suing them, and he ended up losing and stuff, but he learned what was going on. And he happened to be sitting in the restaurant one day, and another couple was in there having lunch with their lawyer. The lawyer walked in. He said, "I've done everything for you that I can do. I'm done. I'm out of here." And he turned around and walked out. Well, Swasinger had heard enough of the conversation that he started telling them a few tips of what to do. So they went in and done that. So they started having court battles back and forth trying to save their farm. Well, this kind of snowballed a little bit, and I think there was 6 or 12 families that joined the lawsuit. And they sued and they won and they didn't win, and back and forth. They kept on going all the way up
through the farmers unions,
through the appeals and everything. And it was basically through the farmers unions and against the savings and loans and everything. And what they discovered was that there is no money, and when you went in and you signed a loan, you never borrowed money. It was all ledger entries. And so Roy Swasinger was commissioned by the U.S. Supreme Court to conduct a full-scale investigation into this thing. And he did, and the reports were actually sealed because can't let it get out to how bad the banking system is. And there was what they called the farm claims. So it became a class action lawsuit to be able to join this farmers network that was suing the banks. And so anybody could have joined at that time. And what it was based upon was all of the loans. Your birth certificate was worth, I think, what, $2 million, $1 million, $2 million, or something like that. And for each loan that you had, you got the principal and interest times 2 on all of the loans that you'd had, all of the real estate taxes. All of that stuff was multiplied. It had multipliers.
Even people have been incarcerated illegally.
Yeah, if you've been locked up in jail, you got so much per day and all of this sort of stuff. That was the multiplication sheet for this farm claims. Well, anyway, because Roy Swasinger was a retired general, and so he had some of his buddies help him in this investigation. And so they started learning how the American people had been basically screwed over in this deal. So that is how the military became involved in learning about the banking system and about learning how the justice system worked. But they also said we can't just go in and take over and shoot the congressmen and senators like we'd really like to, but we'd have to educate the people and let them take over. Well, actually, with the RAP, which was the Restore America program in the Republic, they actually have the military backing, based upon the fact that their knowledge came from that time period of suing the banks and learning how that we got screwed over, and they brought it forward and picked out certain groups and brought the information to them, said, hey, you can have such and such amount of time to be able to act upon this and go forward, and we will help you, or whatever. Well, as I understand, there's been a couple other groups approached and by the military and said, hey, we will help you if you want to go through and basically restore the America, and they chose not to. They wanted to continue to fight in the commerce and stuff like that.